Jeff Martin, welcome back to Australian Musician.
My friend, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Today we're talking about the show celebrating Neil Young from Harvest to Harvest Moon, which you're involved in with Shane Nicholson and Richie Lewis from Tumbleweed. When did you first come across Neil Young's music?
Well, being a proud Canadian citizen, Neil Young's music's been a part of my psyche since, you know, very early memories, because my family had a shared, like my extended family shared a cottage in the Muskokas, which is the lake region, the cottage country of northern Ontario. And going to that cottage over the years, and then friends' cottages, my teenage years, and then in my adult years, more friends. I mean, if you're sitting around a bonfire at nighttime in cottage country in Canada, in that region, Neil Young is playing in the background
Yeah.
always, you know? So it was just a part of it's embedded in my psyche. And just as a Canadian, I'm just very proud that Neil Young is one of ours because as an artist, even at the beautiful age that he's at, the man is still relevant. I mean, his activism, his music, it's always laced with integrity. You know, he doesn't rest on his laurels, and that's what I respect the most.
Yeah. Have you seen him perform many times or even met him?
I have seen him perform many times, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. Now, this would have been in 1995. The Tea Party was recording our second record, The Edges of Twilight. We were recording in Los Angeles at the famous A&M Studios, and we had the big like Studio A, which was called the Barn. And at that time, because of the success of our first record, Splendor Solace, well, EMI gave us a pretty healthy budget to record The Edges of Twilight. And instead of blowing the budgets on, all the rock and roll excesses, what we decided to do was because of our interest in, music from the Middle East, North Africa, Turkey, India. So we wanted to use that money to buy every single instrument we could get our hands on, right? So the barn ended up looking like the main recording room of A&M Studios ended up looking like the most exotic music shop you could ever walk into, right? Every instrument. And of course, people know that they were all used on the Edges of Twilight. But but when we were recording Edges, we had a very famous, another legend about Neil's age, the folk rock icon, Mr. Roy Harper. Now, he was with us because I wanted him to do what was going to be a secret track on the end of the CD, a song called Time, because Roy and I had met each other a few years prior to that, and became quite good friends. And so we're recording in the big room, and we've got Roy Harper with us. And in the Studio B, the smaller room, Pearl Jam was recording Mirrorball, and they had Neil Young with them, right? So it was like the two young up and coming bands with their legends in tow, right? And Neil and Roy knew each other, so that was great. And I just remember Neil coming into the barn and just walking around looking at all the instruments and everything. And he came up to me and he said, Jeff, man, this is really cool, man. But all I want you to make sure that you do is, just don't ruin the record with any synthesizers, right? So there was no synthesizers on the Edges of Twilight. That came on transmission. But he was a gentleman, and I've seen him perform, and it's pretty intense. When he gets up there, man, he's 20 years old again, and he's just wrecking that guitar in the most beautiful way. you know. And then, but when he plays the acoustic stuff, it's just sublime. So it's the best of both worlds. And I guess when the opportunity came to do this, and especially with the people involved, there's no way I would say no.
Yeah. How did the show come about?
Well, a few years ago, maybe about a decade or less, but I did a show with the same promoter that's promoting this show. His name is Fraser, and his company is called Metropolis. And I was invited to be a part of an ensemble performing the songs of REM. Now, as much as I do respect REM's music, and I, like in my teenage years, that was part and parcel of what you listen to, like with the, sort of the post-punk stuff. But it wasn't really a part of my musical psyche. But what did happen was the band, the backing band on that REM show, will more or less be the same backing band that is going to be backing Shane and Richie and I. And I had such an enjoyable experience doing those shows. It was so funny that the very last show, the standing ovation, and the band leader, Paul McDonald, and I were sitting backstage enjoying a glass of wine. And someone asked us if we were to do it again, who would it be? And in absolute synchronicity, at the exact same time, we both said Neil Young. And so many years later, dream come true, and get to work with those incredible musicians again, and sharing the stage with Shane and Richie will be just an absolute treat.
Yeah. When I think of Neil Young and his high frequency treble voice, Jeff Martin's baritone vocal is not the first voice I would think of to cover Neil. How are you approaching the songs? I imagine there's some changing of the keys involved.
There certainly is, yes. But this is not a tribute. Like it's not a tribute show where it's like, and I appreciate the tribute bands, that go on and they try to look the parts and sound exactly like the part. And this is not it. This is, some very talented musicians interpreting and, sort of like getting at the roots of the essence of Neil Young's music, but doing it in a fashion that no one would have heard before. Right. So, yes, with my voice, no, I can't sing in the register that Neil Young sings in. But my interpretation of his songs, the emotion will come across, and also what I'm doing too is, a lot of the alternate guitar tunings that I've used with the Tea Party with my solo career. I'm applying those to Neil Young songs, so it adds like a new essence to like the beautiful simplicity of Neil Young's songs. Well, this will make it sound a bit more exotic. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you go about selecting who would be performing which songs?
Well, I I think I was probably the first one in as far as this production. So I maybe I got first pick. I'm not quite sure, but the songs that I've chosen are songs that have certain memories attached to them, and so very close to my heart. And it's songs that I've sung around a campfire with an acoustic guitar for friends and all that. So it's just these beautiful memories, and being able to do it with such a level of musicianship behind me is going to be incredible. I mean, we've yet to rehearse yet, so that's in the next coming weeks. But I have no doubts whatsoever with the level of talent that's involved. I'm going to be in quite capable hands.
Yeah. So will you get to jam out in Crazy Horse style?
Yeah, definitely, especially for the last song, like where everyone comes on stage, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah, definitely, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Will there be much narration during the show? Much talking, explaining songs?
I don't think so because I mean, time is of the essence, right? And I mean, I did that just recently, like when I was going across the country doing the songs of David Bowie. Well, because I'm standing alone and it was like a solo acoustic show. I could go into like the storytelling mode, but like this show is more about celebrating the music, and I think the other two would agree as well. Like, let's just get down to it because there's so much to cover. So much material. Like, we're not even touching the surface really. Yeah, for one night, it's kind of impossible.
Yeah. So will you be using your 71 Les Paul recording model, or does that not leave the studio?
Ah, you remember? Yes, I'm actually bringing that out because it kind of looks like Neil's Black Les Paul, but not really. But at least I've got the vibrato bar, so I can go like crazy, crazy on it, just like he does, right? Give it a good go. But yeah, like it's just like there's a few guitars that are coming out, like that one, my 1970 Fender Telecaster with the B bender in it, which was actually owned once upon a time by um, um, the lead guitarist from the Byrds. Sorry, Clarence White. Clarence White. Sorry, I was having a mind fog there. So Clarence White used to own this guitar. Like it was the guitar that he played on the Byrds live Untitled record, the version they did of 8 Miles High. This is the same guitar. So I bought it off of Gene Parsons, who was the bass player in the Byrds. So not Graham Parsons, Gene Parsons. And Gene and Clarence White, they developed the Parsons White B bender together. And this was one of the prototypes. So I'm bringing that out as well.
Cool. Yeah. Will there be any magnetones on stage?
No magnetones, no. I'm just going to, because, usually I'm a matchless man, but all my matchless amplifiers are in Canada right now, waiting for me to get over there to do the Tea Party tour that's happening in November. So I thought for the Neil Young shows, I would just stick to like some classic Fender amps, and just get those really rich tones.
Yeah. Um, we spoke about Neil Young earlier and his dignity. I imagine you align with Neil politically on most things.
Well, I think if you have a soul and uh, you know a high sense of morality, you probably would agree with most things that Neil Young, you know, gets on about, and like it's just it's becoming a very, very crazy, strange world, and a man like that at his age, still being relevant and still, going for the jugular. So much respect, you know.
Yeah. As you said, you were on the road celebrating David Bowie. You've done the REM thing, and now Neil Young. Who else would you like to pay tribute to in a show?
Oh, I think after this Neil Young thing is done, I think I'm going to be retiring from doing something like this because I think my bucket list is full there. Because I've also done Led Zeppelin early on, and Led Zeppelin, of course, like Jimmy Page, like courses through my veins. So I'm just going to concentrate now on I'm writing new music for a new solo record, and then next year going to be focusing on new music for the Tea Party. So it's time to. I'm gonna like really give everything I have to the Neil Young concerts. But then after that, I'm kind of done looking backwards, and I want to just look forwards.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, it's been great to chat. The shows begin on the 22nd of August in Brisbane, then 23rd in Sydney, 11th of September in Adelaide, and 12th of September in Melbourne. Uh, all the best with the show, and we'll catch up next time.
Okay, thanks, Greg. All right.